America's sick, or maybe I should say ill. That's obvious to anyone paying attention. The question is why? After careful thought, I'm pretty sure the answer is money. Luke chapter 16, verse 11, Jesus said, "Therefore, if you can't be faithful with your unrighteous mammon, or money, who's ever going to trust you with true riches?" You know, the founders of this nation thought that liberty was worth sacrificing our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. It was not all about the money. That may have been true then, and also perhaps for much of American history. For example, we've spent literal fortunes to liberate Europe, and all we asked for was land to bury our dead. But post-World War II, something happened. Eisenhower warned us of a military-industrial complex where people would make money from war rather than reluctantly using war to produce liberty. His farewell speech, the one from America's wartime general and peacetime president, was given over 60 years ago. But when you look back, it's obvious how important his warning was. First, he warned of a scientific, technological elite funded with taxpayer money that would look down from on high and tell the little people how they should live. You know, it's all about the science. Then he warned of a military-industrial complex that would work hand in glove with the scientific, technological elite. They would be the enforcement mechanism, again with taxpayer money. They would have an insatiable appetite for more and more money. Would this mean more and more war? Let me quote a few passages from his speech. Remember, this was 1961. He said, "Today, the solitary inventor tinkering in his shop has been overshadowed by task force of scientists in laboratories and testing fields. In the same fashion, the free university, historically the fountainhead of free ideas and scientific discovery, has experienced a revolution in the conduct of research. Partly because of the huge costs involved, a government contract becomes virtually a substitute for intellectual curiosity. For every blackboard, there are now hundreds of new electronic computers. The prospect of domination of the nation's scholars by federal employment, project allocations, and the power of money is ever present and is gravely to be regarded. Yet in holding scientific research and discovery in respect as we should, we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific technological elite." Wow! No more intellectual curiosity. Research becomes about the money and the money alone. Is there a more apt description of today's failures? COVID policy, Anthony Fauci, Mr. Science himself, the failure of academic institutions. Again, quoting Eisenhower, "Our military organization today bears little relation to that known by any of my predecessors in peacetime, or indeed by the fighting men of World War II or Korea. Until the latest of our war conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But now we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We've been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security more than the net income of all United States corporations. The conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of our defense with our powerful, peaceful methods and goals so that security and liberty may prosper together. You know, that's a pretty heavy warning.